Japan has a lot of visas. There are over 30 different ones, so it can be difficult to figure out which one you need. In this video, I'm going to go through some of the most common visas for people that want to live and work in Japan and what you need to do to get them. The first thing we need to clarify is whether you're looking for a short-term stay or a long-term stay, because this will determine which visa you need. Short-term stay is typically up to 90 days. You don't really need a visa unless you're coming from a country that needs one. It's usually enough to have your passport and be able to show proof of travel like round-trip tickets and accommodation while you read there. A short-term stay is normally good for tourism, visiting family, or doing business. You can't work on a tourist visa though, and if you're planning on working or studying, then you'll need to apply for a long-term visa. A long-term visa is valid for 1 year or longer. ULL need to apply for a Certificate of Eligibility from the Immigration Bureau of Japan before applying for a visa at your local Japanese embassy. The length of your visa will depend on your purpose of stay. If you're coming to work, it could be 1 to 5 years. Students are usually given visas that are only valid for the length of their studies plus 2 months. It's according to the Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare. And spouses of Japanese nationals or residents usually receive 1-year visas that are renewable. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's jump into some of the most common long-term visas. Japan offers more than 30 types of long-term visas. However, here are 6 of the most common for foreigners that want to move to Japan. 1. Work visa. If you're moving to Japan for work, then you'll likely be applying for a work visa. To qualify, you'll need a job offer from an employer in Japan. You'll also need a bachelor's degree, or at least 10 years of work experience. Different professions have different requirements. For example, you might have to pass exams or get certifications depending on your field. There are lots of jobs available for foreigners in Japan, such as IT engineers, software developers, programmers, web designers, webmasters, teachers, assistant language teachers, chefs, managers, mechanics, researchers, etc. Note that all applicants must be sponsored by a Japanese company. Sponsors will help you with all the paperwork required to apply. 2. Student visa. Japan is a popular destination for international students. If you want to study there, you'll need to apply for a student visa. To be eligible, you must be accepted by a school that has been certified by the Education Ministry. You'll also need to show financial proof that you can support yourself during your studies, like bank statements or a scholarship letter. Once approved, ULL be issued a student visa allowing you to stay in Japan for the duration of your course plus 2 extra months. Student visas also allow part-time work for up to 28 hours per week. If you're interested in learning more about studying in Japan, check out my Study in Japan playlist. There's a link in the description. 3. Spouse visa. If you're married to a Japanese national or permanent resident, then you may be eligible to apply for a spouse visa. The requirements are that you must be legally married and your spouse must be either a Japanese citizen or a permanent resident. Unlike other work visas, you won't need a job offer or qualifications. Your spouse will need to sponsor you and help with the application process. Spouses in Japan have full working rights. For highly skilled professional visa, the highly skilled professional visa is another option for those wanting to work in Japan. This visa is a points-based system, meaning you need to earn a certain number of points to qualify. Points are awarded based on factors like age, education, salary, and work experience. Applicants must be at least 22 years old and younger than 40. You can use the immigration points calculator to check how many points you'd get. There's a link in the description. The benefit of this visa is that it is much faster to get permanent residency in Japan with this visa compared to other work visas. It usually takes around 5 to 10 years to get permanent residency with other work visas. With the highly skilled worker visa, you can become a permanent resident after only 3 years. 5. Specified skilled worker visa. This visa was introduced to help address labor shortages in Japan in fields like nursing, construction, and food service. It's valid for 5 years and renewable. However, only people from specific countries are eligible. Check the official immigration website to see if your country is eligible. ULL also need to pass both an exam in your area of skills and a Japanese language test. The specified skilled worker visa does not allow for any part-time work. The other thing to note is that this visa is mainly for people who were in Japan on a technical intern training visa. Those who entered Japan using this visa were able to transition into this specified skilled worker visa when it was created. So if you're not already in Japan on a technical internship, it's unlikely that you'll be able to get this visa. 6. Investor, Business Manager, Visa. If you want to start or manage a business in Japan, then you might be able to apply for an Investor Business Manager visa. If you've watched my previous video about how to find a job in Japan, then you'll know that in order to find a job in Japan, you'll need to be able to read and write Japanese. Luckily, there are a bunch of free websites where you can learn Japanese online. If you're finding value in this video, please hit the like button and share it with a friend. It helps a lot. Now back to the video. Once you know which visa you need, it's time to apply. Here are the general steps for applying for a long-term visa to live in Japan. These steps are true for almost every visa type. Step 1. Get a sponsor. You'll need to find a sponsor in Japan to help you apply for your visa. Your sponsor could be your employer, if you're applying for a work visa, your school, if you're applying for a student visa, or even your spouse, if you're applying for a spouse visa. If you're applying for a business visa, then you are the business, so you will be your own sponsor. Each visa type has different requirements. So do your research to ensure you meet the requirements. Step 2. Apply for a Certificate of Eligibility. You must obtain a Certificate of Eligibility from the Japan Immigration Bureau before you can apply for a visa at your local embassy. This document proves that you meet the conditions of your visa. It usually takes about 1 to 3 months to process. You'll need to provide documentation to support your application, such as proof of your relationship with your sponsor, financial documents, and your intended length of stay in Japan. Once you receive your Certificate of Eligibility, it will be valid for 3 months. You cannot apply for a visa at your embassy. Before receiving your Certificate of Eligibility, Step 3. Submit the visa application. After getting your Certificate of Eligibility, you'll submit your visa application at your local Japanese embassy. You'll need to include your passport, photos, and the visa application form. Visa processing time varies by location, but it usually takes about 1 week. Be sure to apply for your visa well in advance of your planned trip. Step 4. Enter Japan and receive your residence card. When you enter Japan, you'll receive your residence card. Make sure to register your address with the local ward office within 14 days of arrival. Some people ask if they can switch from one visa to another once they're in Japan. Generally, you cannot change visa types while in Japan, so make sure you choose the right one before you apply. Also, some visas allow for part-time work, and some do not. Again, do your research beforehand to ensure you understand the requirements. Lastly, if you want to become a permanent resident, you'll usually need to live in Japan for 5 to 10 years. As mentioned before, spouse and highly skilled visas have the fastest route to permanent residency. For the most accurate and updated information on visas for Japan, visit the official website for the Immigration Services Agency of Japan. Links are provided below. Let me know what you think. Is anyone watching currently living in Japan on one of these visas? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Also, let me know if you'd like to see more videos about living and working in Japan. Hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.